Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Wildlife Encounters Show here at Windham Community Television. As most of you know, my name is Derek Small. I'm the Executive Director of the Wild Center in Zoological Park of New England. And normally you have beside me Naomi, our host. Naomi's off having fun this month, and so we have a very special guest. Standing beside me on this side is Cheryl Haas with the Windham Recreation Department. And Cheryl, you're actually the reason we do this program here at Windham Community Television.
That's great.
We had been coming to Windham Rec delivering our Zippity Zoo programs, and you thought that Windham Community Television might like exposing the greater community to our animals, and I believe we make a tradition, a habit of actually letting them know when you're running some other programs, right?
Yes, that's great.
So can you tell us a little bit about the popularity maybe of the Zippity Zoo program, when you're maybe running the next one, and anything else you'd like to share with the Windham community about programming that Rec is doing?
Sure. The next Zippity Zoo we have is Friday, April 13th, and it's at 10 o'clock at the Windham Senior Center. We do ask that you pre-register. It's a $5 charge, and you do not have to be a Windham resident. It's open to kids up to age 5 or 6, and we usually recommend 2.5, 3 years old. And it's a great program, and over the past year and a half, has it been 2 years?
Yeah, close to 2, I think.
We get several kids, and I actually had a bunch of people coming in today to register because they realized it was almost April and they should register for it.
So it is by registration, right?
Yes.
We want people to know that.
Yes.
Call you. All
Yes.
right.
Yep.
And I think we'll probably have right on the bottom of the screen the phone number for them to call if they don't have it and so
Sure.
on. Now, is there any other type of programming that you want to let Windham, because obviously everybody watching here is like, where are the animals? And we're going to bring them out. We have a very special theme this month. But any other exciting programs coming up in April or the summer?
Well, in April, I have my summer brochure coming out, which is going to be available on the town website as of the end of the week. And there's several new camps and fun things to do this summer. So I invite you all to check it out.
Cool. Very good. All right, so the theme for this this month's show, the month of April 2012, we're doing a little thing about Madagascar. We have always had a couple of animals that at the Wild Center are native to Madagascar. And most of the viewers know, as I'm sure you remember, that the animals that we have, that we use as ambassador animals in our Wildlife Encounters programs, are not animals that are taken from the wild. None of us actually flew to Madagascar to get the animals that we have here today. But some of the animals that we have here today were actually born at our facility, and several of them are rescues. 2 of them, in fact, are rescues that came to us from a zoo in Pennsylvania that sadly had to close last fall. And then one of them was actually a recently abandoned animal in our hometown in Rochester. It was an animal that was abandoned and in need of assistance, and we provided that in cooperation with our local police department. So we're not a rescue, you know that, but we do everything that we can to help animals in need and animals that can't live in the wild where they truly belong. So our first animal, we're going to kind of start small, and I'm going to invite you to stay and kind of help us out with the animals a little bit. It'll be an exciting little thing. Since we normally do present to people, having you here is something that helps keep me in my comfort zone as well.
Okay, great.
All right, so our first one is definitely a kid's favorite. Native to Madagascar, they'll know exactly what they are as soon as they see them. These guys are Madagascar's giant hissing cockroaches. I don't know if we're actually going to get them to hiss or not, and I probably would have to bring them a lot closer to me in order for you to hear it if they did. But we have 2 individuals here that were both born at our facility, and actually these Madagascar hissing cockroaches, I just noticed, one is a male and one is a female.
How can you tell?
How can I tell? That's a good question, and this is a family show, I just want you to know. Okay, but the what we call dimorphism, or the visual difference between a species that obviously 2 genders. In the case of this, with this one here, the smaller one, you'll notice that it has 2 little bumps on the front of its body right there, whereas the female, those bumps are much, much smaller. If you zoom in really close, you might see them. They're really tiny. The male is the one that has the larger bumps. So kind of for sometimes in the Zippity Zoo programs or the smaller preschool and daycare programs that we do, we'll kind of, pretend the king has a crown.
Right.
And then, of course, all the girls are like, queens wear crowns too, right? But the king's crown arguably is normally bigger than the queen's, and so that is how you tell the difference between these two. Would you like to hold one?
Oh, sure.
Sure. Boy, girl?
Girl.
Do you remember which one's which?
This is the girl.
That's the girl. The girl in this case is bigger only because this girl is the mother of this boy.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
This is one
the
of
mom.
our females here. That's right. Okay, and so these guys play a very important role in the rainforest of Madagascar and in the forested regions. Here, let me have it down on your arm. And oh, you dropped. That's okay. They have a very, very hard body. They can withstand drops very well. In fact, some theory says that these guys can not only withstand drops, but they can withstand nuclear war. I don't know quite for sure about that. But they play an important role in the ecosystem in that these are decomposers. Okay. When a piece of fruit falls out of the tree or something like that, if an animal doesn't consume it, these guys will consume it. Or they and their cousins, other decomposers, will help to consume pretty much any organic matter that falls on the floor and then actually help that organic matter become a part of the floor ecosystem as well. Everything all the way down to fungi and bacteria and other living things that are very essential for other animals that we think of as animals to survive, rely on these decomposers to help in that cycle of energy throughout their life. So that's kind of like our first little guys. These guys generally don't eat other living things. Okay. They eat the bodies of things that were alive, whether those were animals or plants. Right. I guess technically some people would consider them omnivores since they will eat animal or plant matter. But the decomposer role, very, very important role in nature. Kind of think of them like Madagascar's waste management system.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now our next animal is a true carnivore all the way through. And one of those recent rescues that came to us from that zoo that closed in Pennsylvania. So let me get these guys securely away. Mommy comes too. Did you have any questions about these guys?
No, they don't bite, I take it.
They're not a threat to biting us. No, I mean, they have a small mouth structure, right? I don't know if you can see, maybe with a camera, but you see that little part underneath there? That little, almost triangular type shape of their body, that's actually the head. Oh. Interesting fact, and if little kids are listening right now, I want you to plug your ears because it's a little bit gross. But an interesting fact is that a Madagascar hissing cockroach can actually live without its head for a month or more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they use that part of their body not to think. It doesn't have a brain in there like we do, but they actually use it just for consumption. And because their body has that hard exoskeleton on the outside, they can't sweat and lose water. And if they're a healthy weight like Mommy is here, they can actually go for several weeks without having to have their head or eat. But eventually, of course, they would dehydrate and not be able to survive long term. They've got a tiny little mouth for munching up all those things on the forest floor. Now our next guy here, he's got a much more obvious mouth.
Oh, great.
Okay, and most of the kids understand, you know, when we bring out transports like these, that these aren't what the animals live in. This is what we call their car seats, right? And so this little guy here, just you kind of want to watch out for his mouth a little bit when he comes out. I got that. Thank you very much. And so this is a what? Think in Madagascar.
Crocodile?
It is indeed a crocodile. There are, you may, yeah. There are no alligators or caiman native to Madagascar.
I think I learned that at Zippity Zoo.
Did you really?
I think I did one day.
Have you met this guy at Zippity Zoo before?
I feel like I have.
I think maybe Steve brought him down or something.
I think I have.
Yeah, one of our other educators. I know that he hadn't been to the Wildlife Encounters show yet, and this guy came to us as a rescue, as I said, from that other facility. Now, he is just a baby, but we don't know for sure how old he is. We don't know exactly when his birthday is. We know that when he was born, his whole body was probably not much longer than just his tail is now. So they're born very small. They look like cute little dinosaurs. Okay? And of course, in the wild, they're very, very nippy because everything is a threat to them when they're little. This guy here now, still pretty little, looks at me as though I'm potentially going to hurt him. Now, he's getting to know us, all right? And they are very smart. A lot of people don't give them enough credit. Crocodilians, whether it's our American alligators around here or their cousins, the crocodiles, which, though they look very similar, are actually not super closely related. I am actually more closely related to a gorilla than an alligator is to this crocodile.
Wow, that's interesting.
But they look very, very similar, and they are both very, very intelligent, right? They would say, most people would say, that this crocodile is probably about as smart as a kitty cat. He can plan things, he can strategize, he can understand, they can hunt in groups, they can work together almost like wolves and so on. But the thing that is different about this crocodile which is a Nile crocodile, by the way. Most kids are familiar with the Nile crocodile for living in the Nile River. They don't just live there, and they don't just live in rivers. In fact, in order to get from Africa with the Nile River to Madagascar, you know, they also have to swim in the ocean, right? So crocodiles, one thing that makes them very different is that they can not only live and be happy in freshwater, like a river, lake, or stream, but they can also swim in salt water. They have, within that mouth, they have a salt excretion gland that kind of filters out the salt water in a marine environment. Yeah, you saw his eyes disappear when I did that, right?
Does he like that? Is that
Does he? Oh, yeah, he's like, oh, yes.
He closes his
yes.
eyes when you rub him, yeah.
No, the eyes, that's more of an instinctive reaction, not a planned or an enjoyment type of a thing. And I'm very excited to be here to see that he's starting to grow his teeth. He was not, sadly to say, not taken the best care of, all right? So he actually didn't have any teeth just a couple of months ago. As you can see, he's starting to grow a number back. I'm not going to touch him because unlike a crocodile that might actually, one of our alligators, quite honestly, might actually let me touch his teeth.
Wow.
I don't try it, but alligators are pretty calm, to tell you the truth. Crocodiles, lightning fast. I am not as fast as this guy, and this guy has bit me before. And the other thing is they're very unpredictable. Now, of course, when they get bigger, unlike alligators, they do look at people as potentially yummy. In fact, we just gave this one of our biologists, maybe we'll have him down to be on the show soon. He's still wrapping up his schooling over at Keene State College. His name is Caleb, and he's one of our curators of animals. His specialty is kind of reptiles and amphibians and so on. We're very excited to have him on board. He came to me a couple of weeks ago, and he says, I came up with a name for the crocodile. And I said, what do we want to name the crocodile? He says, we want to name it Gustav.
Okay.
I said, Gustav? Gustav is not an African name that I'm aware of.
Right.
You know, where are you coming up with Gustav? Because we like to have our names kind of mean something. We don't just name them Joe and Tim and Sally and so on. But we like to have them maybe imply something about the species, genus, and the scientific name. Or maybe something about the locality or the culture and the people and the language in that area. He goes, we want to call this guy Gustav because there's actually a living Nile crocodile in Africa right now that they have named Gustav over there, and they're actually hunting him.
Oh, wow.
You can Google Gustav the Nile crocodile if you want to on your home computer and look him up. Apparently, they haven't caught him, but apparently he could weigh as much as 2,000 pounds.
Wow.
He could potentially be about 20 feet long, and supposedly they're making him responsible for about 100 people being missing. Yes.
Great.
So they're trying to catch him for understandable
Absolutely.
reasons. Now, this guy here is, as far as we know, the only Nile crocodile in the state of New Hampshire. And of course, as we build and open the new Zoological Park and Wild Center in the future, we're going to be very excited as he outgrows the ability to come to schools and so on. He's going to definitely retire and live the rest of his life, 50 to 75 years, at the Wild Center and be the first Nile crocodile on public display in New Hampshire.
Cool.
Just a little baby right now. We're going to take a break, put him away safely, and we'll be right back with two more amazing animal ambassadors native to Madagascar.
Miss Smarty here with recipe questions from viewers. Do you have a favorite apple recipe? Yes. Wash, eat. Miss Smarty, I love carrots. Do you have a favorite way to prepare them? Yes. Wash, peel, eat. This viewer asked about spinach. Wash, eat. How fast and easy is that? Join me next time when I show you how quick and easy it is to make a fruit salad.
All right, Gustav is safely away. Welcome back to the Wildlife Encounter Show. We have Cheryl Haas here from the Windham Rec Department, kind of guesting in and helping me out with the animals for the month of April. And we just saw the decomposers, the very adorable, some kids might think, others maybe not so much, Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
They were cute.
And then we met Gustav, the very well-behaved today, I have to say, though I will let people know after we shut off the camera and went to break, he tried to bite me, the baby Nile crocodile. So we're going to stay with the reptile thing, and we're going to meet a reptile that is actually kind of surprising to see in Madagascar. Okay, and I'll explain when I bring him out. This is a recent rescue, an animal that was abandoned, and you're not screaming, so that's a good thing. Okay,
staying over here.
This animal here is an animal that you normally don't expect to see in parts like Africa, Asia, or the Middle East, because obviously they have snakes, but this is a type of snake that you normally, and he's grabbing the table here, hold on, that you normally only see in South America, Central America, or North America. This is actually a boa constrictor.
Huh.
Now see, typically when we go into classrooms and we talk about constrictor snakes, those are snakes that do what? Do you know? Constrictor means?
To like
To
grip or
grip or
Yep.
squeeze,
Yep.
exactly. So what these guys have, they don't have any venom. They're not dangerous to touch as long as you don't spook them and they turn around and bite you. And even their bite is not that dangerous. They don't have any venom. They don't have fangs or anything like that. Can you hold that? He's being a little rascally. There we go. Good job. You all right?
Oh, I'm fine.
Not feeling put on the
No,
spot, are you?
I'm fine, Derek.
Your face is a little red,
Great.
but you're doing great.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so boa constrictors actually have 3 rows of teeth in their mouth, as do their cousins, the pythons,
Okay.
and even the snakes that we have around here, like little garter snakes, which a lot of kids like to call garden snakes, maybe
Garden,
because
yeah.
you see them in the garden, but the correct word is garter. But regardless, they have 2 rows of teeth on top and 1 row of teeth on bottom. And if you were to actually count them all, they're all really pointy. They hook backwards a little bit. There might be 100 to 120 teeth in there.
Wow.
But none of them are really all that dangerous because what they serve for is grasping things.
Okay.
That's how they grasp things in the absence of having a hand or fingers. As soon as they grasp something, then they use, and I think you would agree that he's got
He's
a
very
pretty
strong,
muscular,
yes.
strong body.
Yes.
They wrap that around and squeeze. Now, boa constrictors and pythons, like our colubrids around here, are constrictor species for the most part, okay? None of them are venomous. But the thing is, boa constrictors, as I said earlier, normally found in the Americas. Boa constrictors are found 2 species, I believe, maybe 3 species in North America, many in Central and South America, and then you find a couple species on the Reunion Island and Madagascar. The Reunion Island is a small part of province of France that's just to the east in the Indian Ocean off the island of Madagascar. And so it's weird to find boa constrictors way over there in parts that we would consider the old world when all the rest of them are over in the new world. And Africa in between has no boa constrictors, but many pythons. And pythons and boa constrictors are distinctly different, even though their bodies often very similar, and they have similar hunting techniques and many things. The biggest difference between the two is actually how mommies have babies. See, pythons, when mommies have baby pythons, they actually give birth to them early and they lay eggs. The babies have to finish up their growing in the eggs and then they hatch, kind of like kids know chickens hatch and stuff like that. Whereas boa constrictors are weird. They're called ovoviviparous. Maybe we should put that up as a vocabulary word on the screen. Ovoviviparous means that you form an egg, but you keep it in you so long that the baby's ready to hatch when you lay the egg. So the egg becomes very thin and it breaks and your baby is actually born alive. Okay, so boa constrictors give birth to live babies, whereas pythons always lay eggs and the babies hatch out more on their own. So this is known as the Dumerul's ground boa. It is very closely related to the Madagascar ground boa, and there is actually one tree boa constrictor native to Madagascar, and those are the only 3 boa constrictor species that exist outside of the Americas. Pretty cool guy, huh?
Oh, this is great.
Now, I don't know how long he is. This is a 4-foot table. Can we try to stretch out his powerful body a little bit and see?
I know he's wicked strong. Am I going to hurt him?
He's very strong. You're not going to hurt him as long as you don't grab just the very little bones in the end of his tail. I would say he's at least, if we were to stretch him all the way out, he'd probably be at least 6 feet long, right? 6 to 8 feet is an adult size for this type of boa constrictor native to Madagascar. So I guess we would consider this an adult, even though they're never really full grown, okay? And this guy actually was abandoned in a room in the middle of Rochester, New Hampshire. Somebody had, I guess, had this animal kind of as a novelty, cool thing to have, and we're not a big fan of that, but if you're going to have it, we're a big fan of you being responsible for it. And these people abandoned it and left it behind, so we get a call from the police department and animal control saying, please help this animal out. And that is one thing that, at the request of law enforcement, we will do to help out animals.
Do you get a lot of those calls?
Not as many, thankfully. And again, you know, sometimes private individuals will call us, and sadly, again, because we're not a rescue or an animal shelter or something like that, most times we have to see if we can find other ways to help them besides helping them directly. But are you guys ready for our last animal?
I think so.
Our last animal is a very special guest. It is our only mammal for today's show, so most of the kids watching know that it is a fuzzy animal, and this is a famous fuzzy animal, okay? He's not going to be out super long because he might be a little nervous from the lights, but I have to tell you, he's pretty used to TV. It's been a while for him, but when he was a baby, he actually did about 5 or 6 television appearances with I guess I would consider him a friend of mine. I sit on a board with him. His name is Jack Hanna. Most of the kids will know him as Jungle Jack. So he's done about 5 or 6 TV appearances with Jack Hanna when he was younger. And then when he became about a year old, that zoo in Pennsylvania that I said sadly closed, that's where he lived, he started to get, well, you know how little teenage boys are, sometimes a little out of hand. And so he became a challenge for them, and a challenge that they didn't really know how to address all of the behavioral challenges that he was presenting them. And so for about a year, he became an animal that everybody just looked at and nobody worked with. When he came to us, I decided to work with him, and only recently has he become the only one of his species that travels in northern New England. I'm going to try to bring him out right here, and when he comes out, if you could take this whole thing and place it on the floor beside you, that would be great. All right, come on, young man, right out here. Good boy. All right, and I'll just take these, and you can lift that down. And it is my pleasure to introduce everybody, all of our New Hampshire viewers, or if you're viewing this from out of state, and certainly the town of Windham. This is Zabu.
I like that name.
Now, Zabu was not the name that we gave him. It's the name that he was given, but oops, sorry, young man, by his former owners at the zoo. And it was a private zoo early on, and they went nonprofit, and things didn't quite work out for them. But Zabu is a ring-tailed lemur. Obviously, you can tell why, right? The ring-tailed lemur is one of many endangered species native to Madagascar. And it's not as though they're hunted a lot, but the problem with Madagascar is that most of it's gone. This is a forest-dwelling species. You might find them in the rainforest. They don't really like open fields, and certainly not desert regions at all. But the ring-tailed lemur is a lemur that doesn't climb in trees like other, types of lemurs, or even their more advanced cousins that people might consider primates or monkeys. But these guys will stand on the ground. Now, can you stand up a little bit? Yeah, there we go. See, he can reach kind of high, but most of the time he keeps all 4 feet on the ground. And you are not facing the camera right now, young man. Can you turn around so the camera can get a look at your pretty eyes? There we go. Very good. Chew with your mouth closed, will you? That's very rude. Most of the kids are like, Mom, lemur's being rude on TV. Young man, okay? And so obviously, because these guys can hop and run really, really fast, we do have a little belt on him just to make sure that he doesn't get away, and he stays exactly where we want him to be. Now, this is a boy lemur, and boy lemurs have a very important job in the wild. Okay, they use their tail for very special things. It's not swinging from tree branches, but it's actually kind of helping to display and communicate with others in their group. They live in family organizations known as troops. The girls are the boss. So I hope you like that. Yes.
See,
the girls are, it's a matriarchal society
That's good.
ruled by the ladies. Hey, over here, young man. The girls, if I get him to reach out, the camera might actually pick up with it. On the inside of his arm, he has a black spot and a tiny little claw. So his job as a boy is to go to the perimeter of your territory and scratch marks with your claw on your forearm in the tree, and then the black part leaves your scent. Not unlike how a dog will go up to a tree and go pee. Exactly, that's right. And so he marks the edge of his territory. Now, if other boy lemurs from another troop start to infringe on his territory, maybe looking for food or something like that, then his job is to defend the territory, and that's when lemurs fight. But their fighting is not punching or scratching or biting. Their fighting is actually to take those glands, and they'll look like they're rubbing their arms together like this to kind of roll up their sleeves. But of course, lemurs don't wear clothes or sleeves. No wild animals do. And he's actually rubbing those glands together, getting the smell to come out. And then he'll take his tail, and he'll rub that smell over his tail, and then he'll whack the other lemurs from the other troop with his tail, getting the smell all over him.
Wow.
Pretty cool behavior. So many things to learn about. Hey, don't do that on the camera, young man. Come back over here. So many amazing things to learn about with these non-human primates called lemurs that only exist in Madagascar. Endangered species. Oh, is that a good spot right there? Oh, yeah. He's like, yeah, that's a good spot. And I think we want to wrap things up. So if you could lift his toad up on the table, we'll let him go away. Thank you very much, Zabu. Can you head right in there, young man? Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for watching the Wildlife Encounter Show. We'll be right back with our wrap-up. All right, animals safely away. Was that fun or what?
It was fun.
A little trip around Madagascar. I hope we had a lot of fun, didn't get too far into the learning like we do to the classroom. But I want to thank everybody for watching this month's Wildlife Encounter Show. My name is Derek with the Wild Center and Zoological Park. This is Cheryl Haas from the Windham Recreation Department. You know, I got to apologize. It's Windham. I know it's Windham. I said it bad the first time. My apologies to everybody watching. If you want to know more about the Zippity Zoo program or signing up for other Windham Recreation Departments, call Cheryl over at the Rec Department. Or if you want to know more about us, get involved with our project to build the new zoo and Sustainable Living Education Center, you can find us online at wildcenterne.org or look us up on our Facebook page. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next month.